I'd like to welcome everybody to our webinar this morning, and this is one of my favorite things that I teach, is listening. I normally do this live with a group of people because it is so fun to do and so interesting to hear all the conversations and then to dissect those conversations and try to figure out what kind of listening that was done during the conversations. So we're going to do some of that today, not a whole lot because we are going to try to keep this short. So get out your pens and papers and go ahead and you take notes if you like, or open up your ears. And what we're going to go over today is, of course, improving our N factor, or our skill level. And that is so important in our synergy business. In order for us to get customers and attract business builders, we really have to get better at what we do and who we are. So if you are not in a Team 6 training class, I know, Bob, you've got one starting.
Yeah, June 7th.
June 7th, okay. And there's another couple going on also. So if you're interested in Team 6, please go ahead and join a Team 6 training. This particular class isn't done in Team 6, but questions are, and I know Dan has done such a fantastic job of teaching us how to ask questions. In order for us to be able to ask questions, we have to know what questions to ask, because if you ask them out of left field, it doesn't do much. And I'm sorry, Donald, that you have a headache. It does not count for not talking today. What are we going to cover today? And I actually take it for granted that everybody can see my screen. Is that true?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. There are real voices here. Thank you, thank you. So what we're going to cover today is why it's important to listen, the 3 different methods that we can use while we're listening, and the what advantages we reap, the benefits, when we do listen properly. And so, keep your mics on. Normally we say turn your mics off, but unless there's some background noise, please keep your mics on today so you can ask questions and we can really be interactive. And so, why don't we listen? And there's some information here on the screen, but I'd like to hear from you guys. Is this the truth? Are there more reasons than this? Are there times you don't listen, and why is that? Anybody?
I think for me, this is Homer. For me, sometimes when somebody's talking, when I'm in a conversation, I try to. It's like a chess game. I try to figure out what I'm going to say next instead of sometimes I miss what they're saying. I'm trying to work on that.
Yeah.
For me, there's a couple of things too. I think sometimes if you're not feeling well, you don't listen very carefully. But for me, I have nerve damage in my ears from working in the industries that I worked in for so many years, so I don't hear well. And if there's background noise or anything, all the conversations blend. And so one of the reasons that for me sometimes that I don't pick things up is I simply can't hear. And it's embarrassing. I don't usually say anything about it. I just leave it alone. But for me, that's a reality that I have to deal with every day.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. And you probably don't want to keep saying, could you repeat that? I didn't hear that. What did you say?
Yeah, it's embarrassing to have to to have to do that. So I usually just am quiet. But
And I thought it was your peace and contentment, Bob.
that's part of it. Yeah, that's a big part of it. Thank you.
Anybody else? Any other reasons that you don't listen? Or does one of these things on the screen really hit home for you?
I would like to say shyness and thinking that you'll say the wrong thing.
Yeah, that being unsure.
Judy, this is Dave. Good morning.
Good morning, Dave.
Yeah, sometimes I find myself guilty of not listening as I should, especially in phone conversations, because I am drawn to incoming text messages in the social media era that we live in. And if I am talking on the phone and I hear the beep and I'll look at the message, I am disrespectful to the listener, and I catch myself, and of course I have to discipline myself to put the phone down and just focus on what is being said. But I find that sometimes distracting, and I will have to double back and ask him to repeat it. So that's got me a lot.
Yeah, and you said an interesting thing about respect. I love that comment that you made about how it's disrespect when you are focusing on something else while you're letting those other things, those distractions, take precedence over the person that you are actually speaking to. Anything else? Yes.
I think the issues I have is that in listening to what the person says, my mind and hearing them, but my mind starts wanting to jump ahead and make sure that I don't forget to tell them a certain thing because it's so important to them, I feel. And so I think that sometimes distracts me from listening completely.
Yeah, that's so true. You're trying to craft your answer in your head, right? That now you're missing some of the stuff that they're saying.
Right.
Totally get that. So there's so many reasons that we don't listen, and what I wanted to do is to just give you some awareness around that, why we don't listen, so that if we do want to listen, if we want to gain understanding of the conversation that we're involved in, that we know what we're doing. Because this, at least for me, it used to happen automatically. I didn't even know what I was thinking hardly or what I was doing, because this is just some of the things that was happening with me, my body, and my mind during conversations. So the first thing we want to do is to actually gain the awareness that this is just going on. So for everyone that is involved here today, you have assignment number 1. Assignment number 1 is the next time you're in conversation with someone that you notice where your thoughts are around listening, how much attention you are paying, if any of these things are coming up for you. Because the good news is, if they are, we can change them. We are in charge of our thought processes. So then why is listening so important?
Judy, I don't mean to interrupt, but should we practice? I mean, should we have like a game plan ahead? You know, if they're going to ask this, then we should be able to come back with that, or is it just a natural thing to where we just should, ask questions from their, whatever they're saying?
That's a great question, Homer, and you're going to learn some techniques today and some methods of kind of where you're going to place your mind during a conversation. And where your mind is, you will be able to then look at questions based on your focus. So thank you for that question. So why is listening so important? You know, It's so rare to be listened to. And with some people, it's a talent that that they're born with. It's not a muscle that is developed. But I must tell you that it is a muscle that you can work on. Most people are listening to the words and not the meaning or intent behind the words. I'd like you to put on your remembrance cap here and think of all the arguments that you've been in where really the crux of the fight was over the precise words that were used. When someone has said, but that's not what you said, and your response is, it's what I meant. And then the other response is, but it's what you said. You know, we hear the words, sometimes we disconnect from the conversation, we start thinking about what we'll say next, we remember a comparable story, and we get caught up in our own feelings. And we have to learn to not take things personally and listen carefully and not judge the person for whatever they're saying.
I have an example of that, Judy.
Okay, Dave, tell me.
Yeah, basically, sometimes I will be working in the yard, and I will come into the house, and I may forget to take off my shoes and leave the kitchen with dirt tracks. Then someone will yell at me and say, you always do that. And what interrupts my thought processes is the word always, which is kind of used randomly, but that will misinterpret or get me to stop listening because of the word always, which is not true, but you know where I'm going with this.
Absolutely. And if I was your coach, the answer to that question would be, gosh, honey, I'm sorry. I'll do better next time.
It's not always.
Yeah, because it's the words that you're right.
The word, thank you.
It's the words, yes. You know, we spend so much time learning, and there are lessons on how to speak, right? I mean, David, you are in a speaking group, right? That teaches you what words to use and the tonality and how you stand and the ums, all that. So many
correct.
People are taught, right? Yeah, how to speak.
The Toastmasters group, correct.
Yeah, Toastmasters. So, unfortunately, there's really no classes except the one that I teach that talks about listening. Only 1 in 1,000 people ever get taught how to listen. And when you think about it, you know, there's a quote that a famous Frenchman said, and it is between what I think I want to say, what I believe I'm saying, what I say, what you want to hear, what you believe you understand, and what you understood, there are at least 9 possibilities for misunderstanding. That's a lot of misunderstanding. So it is so important for us to listen and to understand and question after we have listened properly. You know, we've got 2 ears.
I didn't quite get that. Could you?
Would you want me to read that again? And I can send that to you too, Bob, and you can share it.
Yeah, send it to me. Yeah, I was making a little joke there. I didn't get it.
Oh.
But no, if you could send that, that'd be awesome.
Absolutely. So we want to learn from the person. We want to understand how they feel about it. So David, you made the mention, if I could use you for an example, of that special someone that says, you always do that. And so right? So there is a lot of feeling in those words, right?
Yes, and of course it derives because that someone may be busy themselves doing things, and the last thing they need is one additional thing to do. Now, if I'm more careful, as you say, maybe the response should be thought out before it's answered.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. To really understand where they're coming from, not just the words they're saying.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Because you know what? There is so much noise going on in our head. And this is according to the National Science Foundation that says that there's over 12,000 thoughts per day that we think. That's more than a thought per second. And according to the latest research, 80% of those thoughts are negative or against ourselves, belittling ourselves or someone else. That's a lot of negative noise. And so we need to become aware of what's going on. I do cardiovascular screenings a lot for my clients, and we actually look at the mental stress levels, and more people that I screen, their brains are going faster and faster, and they don't know how to shut down. So if they're going to be going this fast and we don't shut them down, let's do it positively and help control and understand the feelings and the attitudes of the people that we're involved in, because that's going to make a difference in our lives. So let's go on and talk about the 3 different methods or types of listening. And I call them internal, focused, and global. So I would like to just start kind of with a little fun exercise. And I need 2 volunteers. You can volunteer before you know the exercise. It won't hurt, I promise.
I'll do it. This is Tracy.
Tracy? And did I hear anybody else?
Yeah, Homer.
Homer, okay. So, the person that has the, how will you know? Let's see. The person that lives farthest to the north, because I don't know where either of you people are, farthest to the north will be the waiter. So, Homer, where do you live?
He's the waiter.
Yeah, I'm the waiter. I live about 100 feet from her to the north.
100 feet to the north?
Probably closer to about 150 feet.
Okay. Well, then I'm so glad we cleared that up. Okay. So Tracy, you are going to go out to a restaurant, and you are going to sit down, and Homer's just going to real quickly wait on you and kind of find out what you want to eat. So as this is going on, everybody else, I kind of would just have you listen to what they are saying to one another without even knowing what these methods are, because it's going to get a little clearer as we go on. So go ahead, Tracy, walk into the restaurant and sit down. And Homer, go ahead and wait on Tracy.
Good morning, ma'am. How can I help you today?
Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. What can I get for you today?
I would like to start off with some water and lemon, and I would like to know what you suggest on the menu for today. I'm looking for something light.
Something light, okay. We have a fruit bowl, maybe some cereal. What do you prefer?
salad with maybe an alternative protein like quinoa. Do you have anything like that?
I can see what we can do for protein-wise. We have meat, we have bacon, sausage, things of that nature. Like a protein, I really, we don't have anything like that, ma'am.
So what types of salads do you have?
Oh, salads. I didn't hear that. I apologize. Salads, we've got a regular Cobb salad. We've got a taco salad. We've got any kind of mixed greens. I can mix anything for you. What do you prefer?
Like kale, spinach mix. Do you have something like that?
I think we can round something like that up for you. So let me get this straight. So you just water for you then? Water and a salad. The kale salad?
Yes.
All right. All right, let me run back and then I'll get this out shortly.
Okay, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for our volunteers. There's clap. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, everyone's clapping for you guys. That was it. We're going to put you on Broadway next.
Yeah.
So, tell me first from Tracy and Homer, what was the listening for you? What did you hear? Not the words you heard, but tell me kind of what you felt as you were going through, how the experience affected you.
Well, for me, I've never waited on anybody, so I just wanted to make sure I got her order. Well, other than, getting people through, product-wise, but I mean, like, I wanted to make sure I got what she wanted. So.
Okay.
I was very uncomfortable. I don't think I'd want to wait on Tracy.
Oh, come on, Jenny.
In particular.
I didn't look at the menu.
Tracy doesn't need to look at the menus. Tracy knows what Tracy wants.
That's true. That's true. But then she has to check it out before she goes to, I don't even know what kind of restaurant she was at. She might need to go to a health food type restaurant that are coming out everywhere. Because I think what she ordered was very healthy, and kudos for that.
I think we were all assuming that she was ordering breakfast and kale salad for breakfast. But it's good.
So, Tracy, did you feel that the waiter heard what you were saying?
Yes and no. See, I do this often. I have a hard time. If I want to see the people around me, I do not have my glasses on. If I want to get into the menu, I have to have my glasses on, and I feel like I'm just really disconnecting with people around me. And I really don't like to look at the menu because it might have so many things in it that it doesn't sound good, and it might be the best thing on the menu. So I'll often ask what they recommend at their restaurant before I even look at a menu.
Okay. So did everybody kind of see all the stuff that was going on with listening and understanding in just this short couple minutes? And I want you to kind of keep this conversation in your head as we go through the different types of listening, so you can say, oh, yeah, I understand when she said, what would you recommend, where she was going with that question, what kind of method she was using. So just kind of keep that conversation kind of fresh in your mind, because we want to talk about these three methods of listening. And the first one is internal, and it's all about me. It's the thoughts that we have that are about us. It's how it's going to affect us, what impact it has on our decisions, our choices, our judgments. It's really only about what I want and what I need. And so in this exercise, Tracy was really thinking about herself, right? She was thinking about not wanting to put on her glasses. She was thinking about what was going to affect her diet. Now, she did change a couple times, and I'm going to, when we get to the next level, I'm going to talk about that. But when you are talking to a potential client, you want to get your client into this method of listening to themselves. You need to know what they're thinking about, how the product will affect them, what they need, what their challenges are. It's all about them. It's all about the client themselves and what they are thinking. And to make a good connection, you have to figure out what that is by, of course, asking questions, but you have to listen very closely to those answers. Because if Tracy was the client here, what do we know about Tracy? We know that she's healthy. We know that she's she might like alkalinity, right? She ordered lemon in her water. We know that she's very friendly and thoughtful because of some of the questions that she asked. So when you are talking to the client, it's about them. It's not about you. It's not about the money you're going to make, the sales you're going to make, the level where you are going to be at the end of the month during that conversation. That's not where you need to be thinking about that stuff. It's all about the other person and letting them hear what they're saying by reframing the questions, by not repeating what they're saying, but reframing what they're saying. So if they, if Tracy says, I want quinoa, and then she said protein, and so Homer then talked about, we have bacon, because he was listening to that clue. He knows that protein is a meat. So he's listening to the clues that she's giving, the nonverbal clues that she's giving, all about herself. The next method of listening is the waiter's way of listening. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
It looks like I'm having some audio trouble. So the next type of listening is external listening, and that's what Homer was doing. He was listening externally. He is actually focused on Tracy. His entire being was focused on what Tracy needed, what Tracy wanted, and I'm sure at times I'm sure, Homer, you went into level 1 about how her ordering was affecting you. Is that true?
Yeah, I that's true.
Yeah, so you probably had some thoughts about, how she was ordering. She doesn't know what this restaurant is like. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm not really a waiter.
The main thing is I wanted to make sure she was going to get what she wanted, but you know, I had expectations before, you know, that it was breakfast and she wanted salad and these other things. So I really should have listened better.
Yeah, so those expectations, and doesn't that happen with any conversation? You have expectations going into a meeting with someone or a conversation that, especially when it has to do with the product, you know, you're expecting that person to fall in love with Pro-Arginine Plus, and it doesn't always happen. That's called unrealistic expectations, and so we just have to recognize and really see that, oh yeah, that is an expectation. Let me go back now to focusing, to externally listening, and to continue asking my client about them, about themselves, about what they want, what they need, and what you can do for them. So
Right.
that is external listening. And this is where you want to remember to be when you're with a customer or if your spouse is talking to you. This is where you want to be. Instead of internally listening, and internally listening would be, oh gosh, I've got to finish doing this, and why are they talking so much, and I'm really listening to the news and weather here. I can't focus on two things at once. So external listening, it's all about what about you.
And Judy, in all fairness, I think that I was a little wrong because I didn't specify, oh, I'm here for breakfast, or I think breakfast would be good, or I would like a light early lunch. You know?
And that is basically what you just said. There is no wrong around this, so there is no wrong.
But it's not fair to the waiter to crack open my head and know what I'm thinking in a very brief, quick second.
Okay, so that's a great thing to say, Tracy. And everybody else, listen to what she just said. So when you are going into a conversation with anyone, do you know what's in their head, and will you understand what they mean all the time?
No.
No. This happens to us all the time. We start a conversation, and I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm in the middle of the conversation, and all of a sudden I'm going, what are we talking about? I thought I was telling you about my day, and all of a sudden you're telling me about, the accident on the freeway. I'm lost here. So yes, we need to explain ourselves better. And yes, we need to listen to cues from people and learn how to ask those questions so that we can understand what we're hearing. The next kind of listening is global listening, and global listening is really what's everywhere around us. So Tracy and Homer were in a bubble. They were in this bubble in this restaurant. And in reality, they weren't even in a restaurant. But if they were, there would be a lot of other things going around. There would be noises in the background. There would be conversation. There may be plates rattling. There could be music going on. So when we're talking about global listening, that's one of the things that we have to be aware of and to not be distracted by it, and maybe even to use it. Because in global listening, what is around us is also frequencies, and the world is made up of frequencies, and whether we believe in a third sense, intuition. There are frequencies around that, and you can pick up senses of what's going on. We need to be aware of global listening. If we were in a restaurant placing an order and we were totally focusing on what we were eating and there was an earthquake and kept on ordering, that would not be a good thing. Right? We have to be aware of what's around us. Now, that's a little extreme, I must admit, but we need to take all these methods of listening and kind of put a bow around it and use them throughout our conversations. But we have to realize which level we are using and understand when we need to focus on ourselves and when we need to focus on someone else and when we have to be aware of what is around us.
Judy?
Yes.
Can I make this little comment? This, just what you're saying, you know, with the global listening and what's everywhere, like a lot of you know, I work in a call center, and on Friday mornings, I'm pretty much in my little section, I'm the only one from 7 until 9 a.m. until the more staff gets on board. And it is nice and peaceful. I have calls coming in, and I handle the calls, but it's peaceful. I don't have a lot of chattering, a lot of people going by my station or my desk. And then when the other team members come in, as they're getting logged in, they want to talk and say, hello, how you doing? I still have calls coming in my head and my ear, and they're wanting to have that conversation, you know, how was your weekend? And they're like, okay, it's Friday, I really don't want to be here, and start complaining. And I'm like, no, time out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you just messed up my day that's going really good because you came in complaining that you don't want to be here.
Yeah,
and
so it's that awareness, isn't it?
And that's, I hear the chatter around me a lot more than I want to. And so I do block out a lot, and then because of that, when I do have a conversation with people, I block out a lot of what really needs to be listened to because I haven't totally engaged in that conversation totally to the point that the excess, the global chatter is out.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it, I deal with this part a lot every day.
And so for you, it's learning when to step into it and when to step away from it.
Exactly.
Was someone else going to say something? Go ahead.
Sometimes it gets very frustrating, and and then I just disconnect.
Right, and then you lose everything.
Yep.
Hey, Judy, this is Jacqueline, and I was going to mention something about your 3 parts if I could.
Sure.
What I know is if I have to know where I am with myself very clearly, where am I internally? So I need to know how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, even before I go into a conversation. Because if I don't know where I am, then I'm going to have a heck of a time doing what you're talking about externally. And so, I see people, my profession is doing, a lot of work with different people in different organizations. So what I have to do is I have to transition. And one of the things I do is I ask myself when I'm in a transition, where am I, how do I feel physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually? When I get clear about that and I go into the next meeting, then if I've been really irritated by something or whatever, then I can work on it so that I don't let it interfere with the next thing I talk to. Now, one of the things I do with all my clients, they have to tell me where they are physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Because the bottom line, and I don't do this in the food we're talking about in the synergy work so much, but I find out where they are in various ways, so I have a good idea of where they are, when I'm talking with them. But I think that's the thing I would say. I love your 3 ideas because I think, your 3 types, because I think they're real. But I have to know where I am, and then I can really listen and be very cognizant of what I'm hearing from the other person.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. That is so, so true. And you actually bring us right to the next slide, which is
Judy?
that.
Judy?
Yes.
It's Donald. If I can just quickly say something. I had an experience only yesterday, in fact, with a potential distributor that that wanted to sign up yesterday, and I saw his enthusiasm, and he wanted to sign up right away, and I indicated to him that because it's the last week of the month, I didn't want to sign him up, allowing him to lose three weeks of potentially getting customers and that kind of stuff. And he didn't. Incidentally, he's on the call today. He didn't get initially what I was saying to him until I got through to him what I just said. It was not about making my commitment as much as to him. I wanted him to have the opportunity of having a full month of taking advantage, and it's something that we practice here at Synergy in thinking of new distributors, and I want to welcome him to be on the call today.
Yes, thank you so much, Donald. Absolutely. And so together you both used level 1 and level 2 so that you heard what the other person said, and you gained some understanding to come to a conclusion that was going to be beneficial for each of you. So it is in that listening and asking questions and discussion where the true connection happens.
Yes.
So it's not just about the listening. We have to learn that method, but we also have to learn how to discuss and how to ask questions. It's part of the whole package, and it's so important. And so, Donald, you were so focused on him and what was going to be best for him. It wasn't about you. It was about him.
So true.
So you took out, you gave away the level 1, focused on you and your needs, and focused on him and his needs. And that is what we want to do with our clients.
Yeah.
And when you do that, it really increases everything. I can't even tell you some of the conversations that I've had where I've told people, this is the best for you. You do what you want, but this is the best that I can see, and let's figure something out together that's going to work for everybody. And by doing that, people now are starting to build trust and create better connections. And really, that's what it's about.
So true. Thank you.
Thank you.
Judy, could I interject just really
Yes.
quickly? I just wanted to say that what Donald did there is the result of him paying attention to his business and learning some skills within his Synergy business. I mean, he recognized that that by signing someone up at the end of the month, they'd only have just a few days to catch elite rebates. They'd lose the whole month. And so the important thing to me here, part of the important thing to me, is that Donald has learned enough about how the business itself works that he could interject, listen to what's going on, interject, and use his experience with the business to assist that person, even though they don't know that they're being assisted. But he's learned that, and that's an important thing as well. You know, he's taking advantage of the business. He's placing that other individual before his own needs, because maybe he needed to sign someone up for the month.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be to their advantage to wait a week so they have the full month. So kudos to you, Donald. That's great business.
Thanks, Bob.
And so true.
Judy, I was thinking about, this is Jacqueline, I was thinking about something. When you do the screenings for us, it makes it so easy for us because we already know in many ways what the person needs when they come to Liz or myself to order the products after you've done the screening. So the key thing that I hear here is when I'm talking, and I'm newer in the system, so but the thing I know here is I'm really going to have to spend a lot more time defining what is the issue that a person wants to deal with in order to find the products that would be most appropriate for them. So this is a helpful discussion today.
Great. Yeah, and it's all about, you're right, it's all about that discussion and making that connection, because sometimes we know the answer, but we think we know the answer, but it's about the answer together, you know, to make sure that you both have the same answer and you both agree on the same answer. And sometimes you need to do that verbally.
And this is Homer, Judy, I'm sorry. Two, some people don't even know what they need at that point. So you need to come to, together with the realization, that this is what they need and they should try it, and, this is the best for them. So.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons that when I meet somebody at a business event, I do a lot of networking. I do not talk about myself, usually in the first conversation. It's all about them. I do level external listening most of the time. In fact, I have people that I've known for years that was surprised that they work in the village I live in. They were surprised I had a son that worked in the village. They didn't even know I had children. That's how focused I am about other people. Sometimes, probably too much. But it really creates this great connection because they feel that they are heard and understood. And that is truly the gift. So basically, that's our webinar for today. This is what we've learned. And I hope that you've all gained something from the webinar. Just quickly, who is going to be attending the open house next week?
I am.
Who is that? Homer.
Homer, yeah.
Bob will be there.
I'll be there, Judy, Dan.
Cool. Well, I'll be there also. So please, I want to see everybody that I can, and get to know you face to face rather than voice to voice. I'm so looking forward to do that. And so next week there will be a webinar. David is going to do that webinar. David, are you still on? I don't know if he's muted here.
Yes, I am, Judy. I'm here.
Okay, David, do you want to talk about the webinar next week real quick?
Absolutely. It's going to be great, Judy, because what we're going to be talking about is about using tools to be able to position ourselves to increase our sales and, of course, service to those that are in need. And we're going to talk about the Square Reader, which is a device that's used by a few of us to capture sales using credit cards. Sometimes we may be at a fair. Sometimes we may be in a location where cash is not available. They still want the product, they're motivated, and we may lose it because we don't have a means to capture credit card information. So we'll be talking about how to use the Square, how to leverage it, and of course, we're going to get individuals who are going to give us a little bit of experience they have using the product.
Thank you. I'm sorry I'm going to miss that, but I'm going to be having fun at Salt Lake City. So make sure you record it. So we
Absolutely,
can
it's going to be fun, and yeah, we'll keep it as a training option for those that want to take advantage of it.
Great. Okay, so any last-minute questions before we end today?
This is Homer again. I just want to say thank you. This helped me out a lot. It really did. This really, really helped.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Judy, I also want to say thank you. I think you've given some real clarity to listening. Very well done. Thank you. This is Jacqueline.
Thanks, Jacqueline.
Yeah, thanks, Judy. Got a page full of notes again.
Someday I'm going to read your notes, Bob.
You're welcome to.
Judy, this is Liz, and I also want to say thank you.
Thank you, Liz. I can't wait to see you guys in August. It's going to be so fun.
Exactly.
So that ends our webinar today. Thank you so much for attending and for participating, because I know sometimes it's not easy, and sometimes it's so easy that you don't know how to shut up. At least that's my challenge. So everybody have a great week, and make sure that you are doing your assignments, that you are looking at your conversations, what level and methods you're using to listen to, and then try to adjust it and change the method if it is not serving you at the moment. So have a great week, everybody.